Transcripts and recordings of the podcast may not be used for any purpose without the direct written permission of the podcast owner. Welcome to Light It Up, a podcast about resilient women balancing motherhood, their careers, personal lives, and all of the challenges that come along with being a superwoman. Each week, you'll be motivated to take action to lead, inspire, transform, and empower. Now, here's your host, Dr. Aginah Musherah. Hey everybody, welcome to a new episode of Light It Up. I am your host, Dr. Aginah Musherah, and today I'm excited to bring you a quick but powerful solo episode designed to help you take the next step in financing a college education. We just wrapped up the Scholarship Mindset series where you heard from educators, scholarship advocates, a counselor, and even a college student who shared their strategies and experiences with earning scholarships. Now that you understand how to apply strategically and build a strong scholarship plan, the next question becomes, what do we do next? Well, the answer is FAFSA. The free application for federal student aid is one of the most important steps students can take to access financial aid for college. And the great news is FAFSA is now simpler, it's cleaner, and it's easier to complete. So today I'm breaking it all down in under 15 minutes so you can move forward with clarity and confidence. So let's start with the basics. What does FAFSA actually determine? So the FAFSA helps determine your eligibility for federal grants like the Pell Grant, federal student loans, federal work-study opportunities, state-based financial aid, institutional aid from colleges and universities. Your FAFSA is essentially your entry point into the entire financial aid system. And one thing I always emphasize is that every family should complete the FAFSA regardless of income. Even if you don't think you'll qualify for aid, many colleges require a FAFSA on file before they will award their own grants and scholarships. So remember, FAFSA plus scholarships equals your strongest plan for lowering the cost of college. Now, the updated FAFSA is already in place. We did have a few, issues a couple of years back, but the updated FAFSA is in place and functioning normally. So there were no rollout issues. There were no delays this year. Everyone should be good to go. So what's new and what's important is that it's shorter and easier. The form is more streamlined. It has fewer questions, which saves families time and reduces errors. It also uses a contributor model. So a contributor is anyone whose financial information must be provided. So whether it's a parent, a step parent, or a spouse, every contributor must create an FSA ID. And so the FSA ID is simply Federal Student Aid ID, and sign the FAFSA electronically. The Student Aid Index, which is known as SAI, replaces the old expected family contribution, which was known as the EFC. The SAI is not the amount you will pay. It's just a formula that colleges use to determine eligibility. So it uses the IRS direct data exchange instead of entering numbers manually. So your federal tax return information is securely imported into the FAFSA. For the 2026-27 FAFSA, since we're preparing it for that 2026-2027 academic year, families must use their 2024 tax returns when completing the FAFSA. And so this is really, really important. Many families assume that they need the most recent tax year filed, but the FAFSA always looks back one tax year. So this timing will allow families to file early and college to package the aid sooner. So who needs the FAFSA? It's a common question. Every student who wants to be considered for federal grants, state aid, institutional aid, federal student loans, or work study must complete the FAFSA. So every student receiving large external scholarships will also benefit from completing the FAFSA. Now, before you start your FAFSA, one thing that you want to do is gather everything that you'll need, okay? So you want to make sure that you have your FSA IDs for both the student and the parent. It's recommended that you create these early if you have not already done so at studentaid.gov. So these must be verified before you can even start to complete the FAFSA. You will also need your social security number for the student and the parent. Um, you'll need your 2024 federal tax return, but that's simply going to be automatically imported through the IRS Direct Data Exchange. So just remember that you don't have to physically, download or access your copy of your tax return. You just need to approve or give authorization for the tax return information to be automatically transferred into the FAFSA. You'll also want your list of colleges with their federal financial aid code. So you can add up to 20 schools. So add any school that you are considering, even if you're unsure. You can always come back and update that later. You'll also need to be very clear on the parent marital status information. So this matters because it determines which parent is considered a contributor. If parents are divorced or separated, the parent who provided the most financial support in the past 12 months is the contributor, not necessarily the custodial parent. So in my case, I am the custodial parent, but I've also been the one who has provided the most financial support for my children the last 12 months, as we're looking at the FAFSA. Therefore, my information is included as the contributor. So, having these items ready will make completing the FAFSA so much smoother. So here are a few quick tips for completing the FAFSA so you won't feel overwhelmed. And again, this will help make the process go smooth. So you'll want to file early. Some aid is first come, first served. So the earlier you file, the schools will be able to determine what aid your student is eligible for. Using the IRS DDX, so that's that data exchange, this prevents any data entry errors. In the past, you were manually entering information from your tax returns. You can always, hit the wrong key, make a typing error. So this way, with the information being exchanged electronically, you don't have to worry about those errors. You'll want to, again, list multiple colleges. So even if you're undecided, list the colleges. Colleges only receive your information if you share it. So if you don't list the colleges on the FAFSA, they're not going to provide you with the financial aid award package and you won't know what your student qualified. And then make sure that you double check all personal information. A wrong digit in a social security number or a birth date can delay everything as it relates to the processing of your FAFSA. So some common mistakes to avoid. There are four that I'd like to touch upon. Mixing up parent and student information, forgetting to sign the form, or thinking we earn too much to qualify, and then not updating the FAFSA when adding new schools. So, what happens after you submit the FAFSA? You'll receive a confirmation. Your information is sent to each one of the schools that you listed on the FAFSA. And then your student aid index, again, that's a SAI, is calculated. And then colleges will prepare the financial aid award letters. And these award letters typically begin arriving in the early spring. Some, in late February, early March. It really depends on the institution, but definitely early spring, April, you should have a financial aid award letter available. This will be your guide for your final college decision because, as you know, college decision day is May 1st. So by that time, you should have received your financial aid award letter, which is going to help guide your decision on where you attend school. So, even with scholarships, the FAFSA is so important. It is essential. And here's why. FAFSA opens the doors to need-based grants, which never have to be repaid. Colleges often require FAFSA to award merit-based aid. The FAFSA is required for work study. The FAFSA also determines eligibility for federal loans, and then scholarships can stack on top of financial aid. Um, can't stress enough that the FAFSA must be submitted every single year, just like annual scholarship applications need to be submitted every single year. This is a year-round, multi-layered funding strategy. So your scholarships reduce costs, the FAFSA fills the gaps, and then together they create what I would say is a very powerful pathway to debt-free college options. So that's the FAFSA in a nutshell. I'd like to thank you all for tuning in to this FAFSA focused episode of Light It Up Podcast. Completing the FAFSA is one of the most important steps that I believe families can take after building their scholarship strategy. And so if you haven't completed your FAFSA just yet, let this be your reminder to get started. And if you haven't listened to the full Scholarship Mindset series, go back, check out those episodes. So remember, each one offers valuable insight and actionable steps. So go back, check out those episodes. It's episode 171 through 174. And as always, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share the podcast. You can catch Light It Up on all streaming platforms, wherever you tune into your favorite podcast. And you can also check out Light It Up Podcast on YouTube. So until next time, remember to light it up and shine bright like a diamond. Thanks for joining me this week on Light It Up. Make sure you visit my website at www.lightituppodcast.com or www.aginahmuhammad.com. You can also find me on social media using the handle @LightItUpPodcasts. If you like what you've heard, please be sure to hit the subscribe button so you'll never miss a show. While you're at it, I'd appreciate a rating on iTunes, or you can simply tell a friend about the show. Be sure to tune in every Tuesday for a new episode. Until next time, light it up and shine bright like a diamond.